War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you are catching this far off in the past somehow. We appreciate you being here. Far off in the past, far off in the future. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us tonight. This is a post-game live stream from the mobile broadcast studio, aka my car. Again, I apologize as always for the lighting. It's not always the greatest, and usually the sound quality is a little bit better, but appreciate you dealing with that tonight. So we can just get together and react and talk about 41-17. The Auburn Tigers take down the Western Kentucky big blob of red hilltoppers. Still confused about what a hilltopper is. Still confused what that monstrosity of a mascot is. But we are not here so much to focus on that. We are here to focus on a win. Senior night, the last home game, the game that Auburn had to have in terms of keeping hopes alive going into the last game of the season, the Iron Bowl. We're not going to really hash on that a lot tonight, but all of that storylines were at play here. It's a really bittersweet night tonight. It's not been a great year. It's not been a year we all have a lot of fond memories about outside of a few handful of things here in the back half of the season. But the way we responded, the way we've, risen to the occasion, the way that we have been able to fight through some adversity has been really, really encouraging to see. And tonight, your Tigers come out in the second half and just put the wood to the Hilltoppers, 41-17. So, reaction show, really just going to kind of go off the cuff here. I don't have any stats in front of me. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your impressions, stuff. Right now, as we get started, let's use this as our check-in period. Everybody collectively, let's do this in unison together. If you haven't done it, smash the like button. If you're on Facebook or Twitter, you can do similar things, retweet button, all that stuff. But I'd love for you all right now, as you're smashing that like button, to post where you're watching from, city, state, international. With a War Eagle, let me know that you are here hanging out, even if it's on the replay. We got Thomas checking in. Corey's here. Rise Life. Christina, Devin. Who else got in here a little bit early? Cheryl's here. Wild Jumper. Benjamin King. Good. I don't know if he's still here, but I know he popped in a little bit earlier. Fielder, good to see you. From HSV. What's HSV? I don't know what that's at. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Devin gets us started with this comment to talk about tonight. So happy for the seniors. They deserved a win like this. And, to me, not to say that they would appreciate a win regardless, but it's almost nice to kind of have them face a little bit of adversity in this game and fight through it and kind of really come out and make a statement in the second half like they did for this win. It kind of makes it, a little bit more real to them as opposed to just from the very get-go getting out there and just walloping them, which I would be very much in favor for. But, this means a lot to them tonight. I'm just going to say this. I don't know if they showed it on the TV broadcast tonight, but the game it just goes, is done. Colby Wooden goes over there to the far end zone and just kind of sits down and has himself a moment. And he about brought me to tears. This is a guy that played his last game in Jordan Hare. Yeah, it was a win. Yeah, he's happy. But those moments like that, as a former athlete, really get to me because it really just it brings it all home, how much it means for these guys to play for this team, for this program, and to finally have it end. Thankfully with a win, can be a very sad time for them, even in amidst of happiness. It is the funniest mascot that's ever seen. Let me give Western Kentucky fans, them a little bit of credit and their mascot credit. I think he's called Big Red. He played up a lot with the jokes on the big Jumbotron there were a bunch of gags played on him and he played along the entire time. So you got to, give him some credit for that. I guess he was quite interesting to look at. Clint Richardson, I'll credit him with saying this. He said, he's more terrifying in person to see. And I would have to say that's the exact same thing. sitting down there, every time like I would look in his direction, his eyes always seemed to be looking at you, which is really unsettling. Yeah. Did I miss you, Neil? Did I not welcome you here? I can't get everybody every single time, but I'm glad to see that you're here. Team responded very well at halftime. Right. So what have we heard all week? We've heard all week that this is a crazy offense, that this is a team that has a high likelihood to upset Auburn. We were hearing that, weeks and weeks ago, even before we knew we were going to be going through a coaching change and stuff like that. And yeah, they had a very formidable passing game, a decent offense, but kind of what I felt like when we talked about in the preview show on Thursday night, I didn't really foresee them being able to sustain that in this environment with our defense that has come on really, really strong. And boy, did they come on strong tonight. Yes, the defensive backs got gashed a couple times tonight, but boy, did they make some plays as well. So the good with the bad, there was a case with this type of offense of bend, don't break, right? We've done this before with Mississippi State, an air raid type offense where they don't run the ball a whole lot. You've seen it. Not as good of talent, so you can see the kind of difference in playing a Mississippi State who runs the system versus a Western Kentucky. Yeah, Ben is always the Barner I wish I could be. We'll keep the Iron Bowl discussion till later. Yeah, they did the pick the singer in the stadium, and it was probably the worst one. Ended up being Brendan Coffey. I thought it was Killian Zaire, and Jarquez did not do a good job with his, but I think Brendan Coffey's was a little bit worse. Auburn was a 5.5 pick against Western Kentucky. Love beating Vegas. I mean, that's what Auburn does, is subverting expectations, good and bad ways. Should have been more than one pick six. So we had a lot of opportunities tonight, as you said, not just for pick sixes, but for picks in general and bigger plays, which is a testament to these guys flying around trying to make things happen on this defense. And there was a moment where you could really see the Western Kentucky offense went from having a little bit of swagger about them coming out of the half or into the halftime. And then they were just very unsettled from that point forward, which was really interesting to see how that swapped. A lot of swagger to very trying to frantic, make things happen, and forced a lot more mistakes in the second half. So, yeah. How cool was it? 2 games in a row, 2 100-yard rushers. Now, the way it started for Tank tonight, boy, he was just struggling, and not from a lack of effort on his part, but not getting a lot of holes. But once he found that gash down the sideline, he just, man, it was a beautiful run again. So cool to see that Tank did this again in what it will likely be his last game in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So cool to see Jarquez respond after he was already having the great start running this day, even better than Tank, and then Tank kind of took over. Jarquez goes down the sideline for one of his. So it's already cool to have 2 games in a row where you've got 2 100-yard rushers. It's cool when you do that when Cadillac's your quarterback, but it's just really nice to have that happening in this way in this final home game. Throw a pick six on top of that. I don't really know how much happier I could be. That's not real. I don't believe that for a second. I haven't even checked scores. That's not real. That cannot be real. And yes, I saw your comment about USC. I'm not getting my hopes up about that. Ron, good to see you. What about that beautiful pass that Hunter made? I will say, listen, it looked like a pass a running back would throw, but that also was a pass that Cadillac would throw. So the minute that happened, I literally looked over to Cadillac on the sideline, even though I was across the sideline, the other side from him. And I'm like, you son of a gun. You ran the play. And look, everybody runs halfback passes. It's not the newest thing in the book, but the fact that Cadillac decided I want to run this because we did it when I was a player, and they threw that up on social media, right? That was so cool to see. I was sitting with a gentleman next to me. He said he would have loved to see them save that for next week, and there may be some degree of that, but now you've got it on paper, and so now they've got to respect that when you're in that 25-yard range. that if your running back goes out to the edge right there, he might pull up and throw that ball. So it may make them catch up a little bit, give him a little bit more space to do something with the run. So I think it's one of those things you won't know. You can never know if it was better to use it next week or this week. I had fun watching it in the stadium today. I think they should hire Cadillac with the win. For the second half, he had the kids were excited, dancing on the sideline, having the fans in the game. Well, listen, Cody, you're talking to the biggest Cadillac Williams fan ever. But we've got it. We can't operate off of emotion. We need to let this thing play out and decide. Cadillac has every opportunity still to show he deserves the job. He's got a game next week that he could win, which would be incredible in and of itself, but which would launch him into a bowl game, which would be incredible in and of itself, given this season. So I'm not so worried about pitching for Cadillac because Cadillac has the best opportunity to do that. But what Cadillac has shown is his importance to this program and these kids. And I think the next head coach, whoever that may be, will recognize that. I'm still not believing it. I'm not going to believe it. I don't care what y'all tell me. That did not happen today. I still don't believe it. Don't believe it. Not going to. I see y'all just like posting it nonstop now. Thomas says, I was surprised at time distribution with the defensive line rotation. Are we resting or prepping for next weekend? I don't know exactly. I mean, I understand what you're getting at, but I don't remember recognizing that myself. So I'm just going to go off what you say, Thomas, that was happening. To me, in an ideal world, this is a game where you try to pull ahead and let some of your other players play. Now, we didn't do that as quickly as we'd like, so you can't really, but there's probably some of that. There's probably guys that have earned more time to play against an opponent where you maybe don't need everybody, your best guys out there the entire time. So maybe there could be a few things at play there. He might be, but we're not the ones that get to make that choice. Yeah, we could always play the if, ands, and buts games, but, some of the problems that Brian Harsin dealt with, Cadillac would have had to have dealt with the entire season. But listen, hey, I am not going to fight against a Cadillac hire. Should Cadillac been the coach all along type of scenario? I'm just telling you, for now, I cannot get emotionally involved in that concept yet, because I will then operate off of complete emotion, no rationality whatsoever. You guys know me long enough and know how much most of you that have been here for a while know how much I love Cadillac. Oh yes, great point, Rise Life. The 51-yard kick really surprised you. It shouldn't surprise you because the kids kicked 60 beyond yarders in high school. No, that's high school, yes. But it is kind of nice to see this new era beginning for kicking with no consequence for a red shirt. It's really cool to see that we're solidified in that area. Now, I'm intrigued why we're still using Evan McGuire on kickoffs. It's intriguing to me. Maybe it's because I don't know if he's a senior. Maybe because he's decent at it. I'm not saying like he shouldn't be having the job, but normally your kicker is the kickoff guy. I don't know. So is that true? Did we actually get a quarterback commit today? I've been on campus all day. Haven't been able to follow up with that. If that's the case, I've got probably a video to make coming out here soon for you guys. But if that's true, let me know. Listen, I understand. He's got him fired up. I'm not arguing against that. I just can't bring myself to do that to myself and get my hopes up or something like that. Okay, we did get a commit today. Awesome. I'll go check that out. Miami Central quarterback. Well, there's plenty of room now because there's question of who's leaving, who's not going to leave, all that kind of stuff going on. All right. Everybody's confirming that now. Great. All right. What else stuck out to you in this game? I'm glad y'all brought up the field goal thing. We talked a little bit about kickoffs. How awesome was it to have a pick six in this game? Not just a interception. We struggled for those all season. But how cool was it for DJ James, who got burned? He was one of the first ones to get burned in the game by the passing attack. He gets the pick six, and wow, the sideline just went ecstatic, just loving on the dude. Absolutely great. It was almost like this pressure lid came off for the whole year when that happened, because we've been waiting for something like that, a scoop and score, a pick six, something really tangible for the defense to take away other than just sacks and tackles for losses, which are great, right? But a scoring defensive play, that was amazing. Really excited about DJ James's future here. It's going to be a good one, the next great one to come out of here. I think Nehemiah Pritchett kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. I think he's been pretty solid overall for the most part for us. And I hate that he's kind of not getting as much notoriety. But the next big one seems to be DJ James. Sacks, pick six, loved it. Every bit of it, loved it. And it wasn't it nice. Can we give a shout out to Hayden Bryce Sr., I believe, getting a sack at the very end of the game there? Beautiful. It's almost like the perfect, if y'all have seen the movie Rudy, it's almost like that. Now, I think Hayden's actually, if I'm not mistaken, he's actually like played before, but I could be wrong with that. Keon Jenkins is the name of the quarterback. I'll go look him up later. I do think Cadillac has already proven, this is what Beaten Lake is saying, whoever it is that we hire as head coach, has already proven to whoever it is, even if we don't hire anyone, that he deserves to stay on the team. I think I understand what you're saying there. I'm not going to fight the whole Cadillac for head coach narrative. I'm just not going to get on board with it for my own safety, emotional safety. But I 100% agree that as a head coach coming in that's not Cadillac, I don't know how you don't put him on your staff in some capacity. Like that's a bold move to watch what he did with this team, watch what he's meant to this program, and that recruiting tool. Like, to me, that's stupid if you don't do that. It wouldn't get him off to a great start. Can we give a shout out to scoring over 40 great points? Wasn't that nice too? I looked up and I was like, in a matter of about 10 minutes, we went from them only being down by 10, very quickly could have, scored and made it more interesting, to them being down 41-17. We've talked about the pick six. We've talked about some of the sacks. They shut them out in the second half, folks. How beautiful is that? Shut them out. Said, you know what? That's enough of your little air raid offense. Shut them out. Beautiful. Yeah, y'all keep teasing me with Caddy if he beats this and this. Listen, I know. Don't get me on that train. I can't deal with that right now. You like the fact that we came alive in the second half. Seems like Auburn has been terrible in the second half in other games. It's nice to see a lot of points scored. I won't disagree with that, Neil, but I would just say kind of maybe an add-on to what you're saying. It's more like we are just a one-half team. For the first part of the season, it seemed like we couldn't play in the second half. Then it became we couldn't do anything the first half, and we got so far behind. And when we finally started doing it in the third and fourth quarter, we're too far behind to really make up for any mistakes that were made after that point. So, was the first half tonight outstanding? No. There were some good moments in it. Kind of defensively, dropped the ball there a little bit, which brought them back to 17-17 at the half. But the response, putting together, this is probably Auburn's most complete game. I'm thinking very quickly in my head. I mean, Mercer, but that's the first game. San Jose State was definitely not a complete game. Missouri was not a complete game. Texas A&M, this is probably Auburn's most complete game. It's cold even here in Tallahassee. Well, it's ironic you said that. I'm back to actually head through Tallahassee. But it is cold out there tonight. The wind was not as bad tonight, but it once that sun kind of went behind the overcast clouds and we got in there and the sun started going down, we all started feeling it a little bit. But I would have picked anywhere else in the world to be tonight just with the Auburn family. What happened to Western Kentucky's starting quarterback? We noticed that too. I'm assuming he probably got hurt, or because when did he get pulled, Neil? Did he get pulled in the fourth quarter? Because if that's the case, then they got down so quickly. Why not just give the guy an opportunity to play? They're already bowl eligible. They got one more game left. They're not really playing for a better bowl at this point, in my opinion. I have warmed up enough that the car is off now, so obviously I'm not super warm, but I'll make it. Thomas says, I'm not a fan of Friends play calling. Yes, we won and they adjusted, but it was not a cleanly called game, in my opinion. We'll have to talk about that. You need to call in on Wednesday and we'll talk more about that. I'd love to hear your opinion in more detail about that. Because I frankly didn't mind it. I saw fewer things to be upset with. I've seen more out of him than I did out of Keesaw as an offensive play caller. Let's see. Thanks for sharing all those things. It's 49 degrees, but it's a cold 49 degrees. And I'm just not a cold-natured person. All right. Yeah, see, it was really weird, Neil, when they switched quarterbacks. I was sitting with Clint, actually, Richardson, Auburn Uniform Database, and we both kind of, or I think he initiated the conversation, said, when did they switch quarterbacks? And I looked over, was like, oh. So maybe, you assume an injury, but maybe it was just they were trying to give the other guy a chance when they kind of got down so far. I don't know. With no sun and low humidity, it's cold. Yes, that's true. All right, what else stuck out tonight? We've talked about the pick six. We've talked about maybe real quick again. Let's mention some of the seniors and supposed seniors. And look, this whole world of everybody gets a COVID year, the transfer portal, it makes everything confusing. Who can and can't come back? Anders is done. I know that. Shanker is done. I know that. Derek Hall was seen taking a piece of Jordan-Hare sod or turf, I guess, whatever you want to call it. That's a signal I'm gone. Colby Wooden was about to make me cry with him almost crying on the field there at the end of the game. So he's obviously gone. The vast majority of our offensive linemen gone. It's really nice to have them go out on a win. It wasn't a completely just slobber knocker, knocked them, out of the door they came in from. But we got the job done in the second half. It's very easy to say that now and jump on that bandwagon because he's not here to defend himself. I'm going to say yes. I think he would win this game because I wasn't buying the Western Kentucky Western Kentucky stock like a lot of people were. But it doesn't matter now. We don't even have to have the conversation because he's not here. Am I going to the Iron Bowl? No, I'm not going to the Iron Bowl. We will be with family. I will be with a bunch of Alabama fans watching the game and a handful of Auburn fans. But I've never been to Bryant-Denny, and I will go at some point, but it'll probably be one of the last places I go. I've been to Tuscaloosa. I've been around Bryant-Denny, but never in it for a game. I usually do the Thanksgiving travel when it's at Bryant-Denny. That's harder to get to or not as convenient. My mom lives in Montgomery, so very close to Auburn. So I usually do the Iron Bowl. We do our Thanksgiving when it's in Auburn, so it's much easier for me to get here and stuff. Not specifically for me, it just has worked out that way. One way to look at it, Debbie, if you're talking about Friends play calling, is the results. How you get there sometimes can be a little bit ugly. I'm not saying that Will Friend needs to stay on as offensive coordinator or even stay on the staff. I'm just saying I think, frankly, with hodgepodging together an offense in 3 games, I've been pleasantly surprised. All right, let's see here. Got a lot of other comments here. Let's see. Offensive line is getting better in the run game. I've seen sometimes when they are getting better at the pass game, but we don't throw that much like we were. So I will completely agree with you there that we have seen improvement that we've longed to see over these last 3 games with the and really 4 games dating back to the Ole Miss game. Arkansas, not really, but the Ole Miss game, there was some improvement seen there too. We're still, seems like 1 or 2 plays, if not more a game, we've got someone coming from backside pressure on the quarterback, or tonight it even happened on Tank. Had a hole to run through, but got caught from behind because someone didn't make the backside block. That is my one complaint. It continues to happen. I don't know if it's a missed assignment, misalignment. It's frustrating, though. But there has been some improvement in that area. Let's see here. Did I get behind in chat? I agree. Thanks to the seniors, the upset did not happen. However, you never bet against Auburn, Rob. Never bet against Auburn. Let's see here. Oh man, that is going to be pretty funny to have that moment there, making fun of Florida fans for this. Kyle, what was my score prediction? Kyle, what was my score prediction again? Thank you. I thought somebody might ask me this. So if you're asking because you thought I predicted, I did not. I predicted I think it was 38-23. I think that's what I predicted. So not really that close. I'm more in the ballpark. Let's see. I like that we are running these sweeps. Yeah, with us utilizing the tight ends a little bit more in the blocking over the last 3 games or so, it's really picked up a notch, given, the running back's a little bit something more different to do than run up the middle and get stuffed. Okay. Good amount. Yes, Neil, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. That was one of the things I kind of took a mental checklist of to talk about. Western Kentucky fans showed out, I got to admit. When you're walking around on your home campus for a non-SEC game, you expect to see 1 or 2 pop up, but I kept seeing groups pop up, at Tiger Walk, not at Tiger Walk, just around campus. So they seem to travel well for no one thinks of Western Kentucky for college football. I'm just being honest. No offense, Western Kentucky fans, but they traveled really, really well. From my opinion, can I also say this? So those of you in the Booster Club know I sent you guys some. They're called lenses, but essentially stories, Instagram stories about how disappointed I was that I got here this morning. Let me put it this way: I go to somewhere to park. I have to fight for parking spots. I should have not gone to reserve a spot because there were parking spots galore this morning. Now they filled up, yes, but I was a little disappointed with the Auburn fans. But here's the great thing. Auburn fans today didn't show up to tailgate. Auburn fans showed up to the game. Was the stadium full? No. Were there some clear missing students? Yes. But when I sat up in the upper deck for part of the game and the lower deck, took stock of the stadium, probably about the second quarter, I was fairly impressed with the holidays, the lack of students here, the way the season's going, the cold. And Tiger Walk was pretty amazing too, guys. So I take back what I was feeling and thinking and even saying this morning about my disappointment in the Auburn family. Y'all showed up. So well done. Who all was sweating at halftime? I was. Let's see. My favorite away fans were Washington State fans. That's been so long, though. I can't remember what they were like. So, all right. We're at 30 minutes here. Let's start moving towards rounding out our show here. What haven't we discussed from this game reaction wise that you'd like to talk about while you put those in the chat? Let me give you kind of what to expect coming up here soon. Tomorrow night, 9 Eastern time. Plan on another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast. Probably going to be talking a little bit about this as well, but other topics too within the whole Auburn family spectrum. So that'll be at 9 Eastern time tomorrow. Probably have another video for you guys out tomorrow too, if there was this new commit as well. Monday night live stream, Tuesday night live stream with the Cancun Basketball Challenge, and then it'll get a little dicey with traveling for holidays. So we'll talk about that later in the week, but that's what you can expect coming up from us this week. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Washington State has a fantastic logo. Absolutely not, Neil. It is ugly, in my opinion. It's memorable, but it's ugly. Yep, I would agree with that assessment. I'm also a very friendly guy. He's a very, very friendly guy. Got a tough task on his hand to figure out. Let's see how talking about the Ole Miss game. Look, everybody's going to take L's. You can't just say that simply because they're losing at this school doesn't mean that's going to carry over here. Well, we'll leave that out. That's a discussion for another day. Jay says freeze head coach Travis DC, Caddy OC. I think if Caddy gets the OC job, if he stays on someone else's staff, it'll be like a co-OC, not necessarily the OC. That's just my opinion. Just me kind of filling out the situation. Jackson, I don't think anybody's seriously rooting for him. So I know some people are having fun with the chat too, but we as Auburn fans like to have somebody to rail against. And so we get in our little camps and go against each other's candidates and stuff like that. Like, for the while Dion was hot, if you were not even getting on board with the Dion hype like me, you were, called stupid. But it's died off, hasn't it? It's just people having fun. All right. What else here? Listen, Caddy's going to get a head coaching job at some point. I don't know that maybe he wants one yet, if it's the right thing. But what Caddy has showed here is that he deserves an opportunity to be a head coach at some point. Maybe not here, maybe someday, but he'll get a head coaching job if he can show continued development, like next week. What we saw. So let's take tonight and what we've seen so far from Caddy. Mississippi State got down in a crazy week and came back, took the lead, almost won the game. Put away a Texas A&M team in a kind of an ugly game back at home. Put away a formidable offense in Western Kentucky. If Caddy walks into Bryant Denny and makes it a reasonable game, there's some respect that's won with that for him personally. I'm not calling for moral victories. He's building his resume right now in many ways. It is true, and I love that fact. That'll be a fun trivia question somewhere down the line. All right, guys. I'm going to tell you what it is. I know it's a little bit short of a reaction show, but I'm going to go ahead and wind this one down. It is our last home game mobile broadcast studio reaction show. Let me just say this, guys. Listen, those of you that watch live and on the replay, I know that sometimes the sound quality wasn't always great. I know the connection probably was bad sometimes. I know that the lighting right now is not all that great, but I appreciate you guys sticking with me through this season. Yes, we've got one more. We had ones that we did in the studio and away games. Always thinking about innovating, about how we can do this better, maybe not from the mobile broadcast studio, from someplace else on campus. We'll continue to think about that and stuff like that. But you guys have been so much fun. Like, I've looked forward to coming back to the car to talk to you guys about this stuff, and even in the losses, because I appreciate you guys being with us and hanging out with us and choosing us for your Auburn content. You guys are okay, great. Here last question, player of the game. Everybody put that in the chat right now as I kind of wind down here. Who is your player of the game? We'll end with that. But again, just my thanks to you all for supporting this channel and being here and smashing the like button, all that kind of stuff. So go check out all the links in the description if you can. It does help us out, helps keep the lights on somewhat here at E2C Network Central. You can be part of our subscriber giveaway if you haven't already by subscribing. Leave a comment. They don't count in the live chat. Come back to the video after we get done here. Just drop a comment, just celebrating, and you're going to have another entry into our subscriber giveaway for a signed Auburn football. Don't miss out on that. There's the Booster Club. We already did that one. You can do a channel membership, all kinds of things available there for you. So check all of those things out. All right, we got people giving their player of the game. Let's see. Your post-game video quality are better than my normal call-in quality. Oh, okay. I was like, what? Clint, yes, I have warmed up yet. Clint, I was waiting for you to still be parked here next to me and messing with me the entire time, like last night, but it was not to be had. Let's see here. All right, I asked for you guys the pick six guy, so that would be DJ James, Tank, DJ James, DJ McPherson. Ooh, that's a sleeper pick right there. Yeah. So, who would I pick? I'd probably pick DJ James too, just because it was so nice to get a pick six. That's a good pick. So whoever brought that up first, good job. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Again, from the bottom of my heart, watching here from the mobile broadcast studio, a.k.a. my car. Appreciate you guys, and we'll be back in with you soon. Don't miss tomorrow night, 9 Eastern time, live recording of the Auburn Experience episode 13. Ooh, unlucky 13. But it'll be fun to talk to you guys again. So until we get together again, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. War Eagle, let's go get that win next week and get bowl eligible.